Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape lately, you know that the AFC North is heating up in a way that's making fans and analysts alike sit up and take notice. There's a lot of talk about roster moves, draft strategies, and coaching adjustments. But what's really catching everyone's attention right now is what's happening with the Cleveland Browns and their quarterback situation. Yes, you heard that right. The Browns, a team that has been knocking on the door of Super Bowl contention for several seasons now, is making some bold moves and decisions that could define their future for years to come. And at the center of it all is a young quarterback who many didn't expect to be in the spotlight so soon, Dillon Gabriel. Let's rewind a little, because for a lot of Browns fans, the draft day of 2025 was a bit of a surprise. Cleveland, known historically for building through the trenches and focusing on solidifying their defense and offensive line, shocked many by selecting Gabriel in the third round. That's right, a third-round pick for a quarterback. That's not the typical move you'd expect for a team aiming to contend right now, especially considering the fact that Cleveland already had a couple of veterans in the roster. But the Browns, as we've seen over the past few seasons, are not afraid to take calculated risks. They see something in Gabriel, and that something is beginning to look more and more promising as off-season workouts unfold. At this point, it's worth mentioning that Gabriel's journey to the NFL has been anything but straightforward. Coming out of college, he was seen as a talented but somewhat unpolished quarterback. His physical stature, for instance, has been a point of contention. He's listed at just 5'11", which is considered undersized for an NFL quarterback. Plus, he's left-handed, which, as many fans and coaches know, creates a different dynamic on the field. The offensive line has to adjust for the ball being thrown from that side, and it can complicate things in both pass protection and play calling. Not everyone was convinced that Gabriel had what it takes to succeed at the highest level, especially with these physical limitations. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the skepticism, recent reports and observations from NFL analysts suggest that Gabriel has been impressing everyone during off-season practices. According to Lance Reisland, a respected analyst and former NFL coach, Gabriel has looked polished during drills. That's a word that stands out because, in NFL circles, calling a young quarterback polished is high praise. It means he's not just throwing the ball well. He's demonstrating a good grasp of NFL concepts, decision-making, and pocket awareness. This is huge because, as we know, the transition from college to the pros isn't just about arm strength or athleticism. It's about understanding the game at a deeper level, reading defenses quickly, and making smart choices under pressure. And Reisland's comments are backed up by other observations from Cleveland. And local reporters who have been watching Gabriel's progress closely. They say that he's not just an athlete throwing passes. He's showing a maturity that's uncommon for a rookie, especially one drafted in the third round. That's a promising sign for the Browns, who have been searching for stability at the quarterback position ever since Baker Mayfield's departure and the subsequent carousel of veterans filling in. If Gabriel can develop the way these early signs suggest, the Browns might have a hidden gem on their hands. Now, it's important to acknowledge the physical limitations I mentioned earlier. Gabriel's size might be a concern for some, and his arm strength isn't elite by NFL standards. But history has shown us, time and again, that a quarterback's success isn't solely about size or cannon-like arms. Think of players like Drew Brees or Russell Wilson, both of them under 6 feet, both with less than rocket arms, yet both became Super Bowl champions and Hall of Fame talents. The key is smart decision-making, leadership, and the ability to process information quickly. And if Gabriel is showing those traits during off-season workouts, it's a very good sign for Cleveland. Another aspect worth considering is Gabriel's experience. Coming out of college, he played at Oklahoma, which is a major program known for producing NFL-caliber quarterbacks. His time there allowed him to develop under high-pressure situations, and he's accustomed to a complex, pro-style offense. This kind of background can be a huge advantage when transitioning to the NFL, especially if the coaching staff in Cleveland is willing to invest in his development. The Browns have a talented roster around him, including a stable of running backs, a solid offensive line, and a receiving core that, while young, has potential to blossom. It's also worth noting that the current QB depth chart in Cleveland is quite interesting. Kenny Pickett, the Steelers' young quarterback, has been making waves, and Joe Flacco, the veteran, provides leadership and stability. But Cleveland's coaching staff isn't just content with the status quo. They're looking ahead, and that's why Gabriel's progress is so crucial. If he continues to impress during training camp and preseason, we might see him step into the starting role sooner than many expected, especially if the Browns' offense shows signs of growth and consistency during the upcoming season. Let's talk about the bigger picture here. The Browns have been on a bit of a roller coaster in recent years. They've had flashes of brilliance, like the playoff run in 2020, but also moments of inconsistency and setbacks. The roster is talented, no doubt, but quarterback play has often been the missing piece. Baker Mayfield's tenure was filled with promise but also inconsistency, and then came a series of veterans trying to fill that gap: Case Keenum, Jacoby Brissett, and others. Now, with Gabriel showing these signs of promise, the team might be on the verge of a new chapter. A young, dynamic quarterback who could develop into a franchise guy. And if that happens, it could shift the power dynamics within the AFC North. The Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers have all been very competitive, investing heavily in their rosters and coaching staff. But the Browns, with a young quarterback and a talented roster, could emerge as a serious contender once again. Remember, Cleveland has a passionate fan base, a rich football history, and a city that lives and breathes Browns football. The energy around the team is palpable, and if Gabriel takes a step forward this season, the city will be buzzing. Now, looking ahead to the season, the expectations are a mix of cautious optimism and high hopes. The Browns aren't necessarily expecting Gabriel to be the Week 1 starter, at least not right away. Most signs point to Kenny Pickett or even Joe Flacco taking the first snap in the opener. But if Gabriel continues to impress and shows steady improvement, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him earn that spot later in the season. The coaching staff is known for developing young quarterbacks, and the facilities, support staff, and veteran leadership in Cleveland are all geared toward helping him succeed. And let's not forget about the importance of the offensive line and skill position players. Cleveland has invested heavily in building a strong offensive line, and with guys like Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller anchoring the line, Gabriel will have the protection needed to thrive. Plus, the receiving core, featuring talented young players like David Bell and Donovan Peoples-Jones, is capable of making big plays and helping Gabriel grow into a reliable weapon. The running game, led by Nick Chubb, remains one of the best in the league, which takes pressure off the quarterback and opens up the playbook. Of course, the NFL is always unpredictable, and a lot can change in just a few months. But what's clear now is that the Browns are betting on Gabriel, and the early signs are promising. The coaching staff's support, combined with his apparent readiness, could turn him into Cleveland's next franchise quarterback. And if that happens, it will be a game-changer not just for the Browns, but for the entire AFC North. The division is already tough, with teams like Baltimore and Cincinnati stacking talent, but Cleveland might just be on the brink of a renaissance. So as Browns fans, we should be optimistic but also patient. The journey from college star or unproven rookie to NFL starter is filled with ups and downs, but this offseason has given us reason to believe that Dillon Gabriel might be part of Cleveland's future. Whether he gets his shot early or later in the season, the fact that he's impressing at this stage is enough to keep the excitement alive and well. The team's front office and coaching staff see potential, and they're giving him the chance to prove himself on the field. It's a story worth following closely because in the NFL, sometimes the most unexpected players turn into legends. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on Gabriel's progress? Do you believe this young quarterback has what it takes to lead Cleveland back to glory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. This team is on the rise, and the season promises to be one of the most exciting yet. So, buckle up, Browns fans, because the journey is just getting started, and it's going to be a wild ride.